What's up, guys? Big shout out to Mrs. Scheider for bringing home the cameras so I could do this video for you guys tonight. It's a little bit late, but I'm going to do my best here for you. We're doing the distributive property. I'm going to show you guys something really cool. I could do some big multiplication in my head by using this simple trick here. And I'm going to show you guys really fast. For example, let's start off with something a little bit smaller. Let's go with 2 times 17. Okay, that's not a normal problem that we all know, but there is a really cool way that we can multiply these. It makes it a little bit easier. You can actually take this 17, split it up into numbers that are easier to multiply. Watch this. I'm going to change this to 2 times 10 plus 7. And hopefully you guys can agree that 17 and 10 plus 7 are the same thing. I actually just kind of made it a little bit more complicated there for a second by splitting it into an addition problem. But I want you to look at this problem right here now. Now I'm going to show you guys that you can actually, now instead of doing 2 times the whole number 17, you can actually do 2 times each of those parts. And you can do 2 times the 10, which is an easy multiplication problem, right? That's just 20. And then you can add it to 2 times 7, which is another math fact that we usually know, right? 2 times 7 is 14. Right? Now, once I've done that, I think that doing 20 plus 14 is a little bit easier than doing 2 times 17, because I'm not sure what 2 times 17 is. But I do know what 20 plus 14 is, because 20 plus 14 is just 34. So, if you ever see someone able to do a multiplication problem quickly in their head, it might have something to do with the fact that they're doing this, right? You can even ask your parents if they do something like this when they solve problems in their heads. They probably do. Let's try another one here. It looks something like this. 5 times 23. Now, that's not a really common problem. I wouldn't expect anybody to know what just 5 times 23 is off the top of their head. But I can do this in my head pretty quickly. 115. Okay? And here's how I did it. I took 23 and I split it up into 20 plus 3. And you can actually split this up into whatever you want, actually. I just picked 20 and 3 because those are going to be pretty easy for me. 5 times 20 is 100. I know that, right? If I do 5 times 20, it's 100. And just add that to what 5 times 3 is, which is 15. You get 115. So that's a really cool way that you can actually do some hard multiplication problems in your head. Now we're going to probably explore that a little bit more, but I want to move on. The reason you're allowed to do this is called the distributive property. If you've noticed what I've done on each of these problems, I've actually taken the number that's outside the parentheses and distributed it to both the numbers inside. This also works with subtraction too. Basically, instead of adding those numbers inside first, you can multiply. Let's take another problem here. We'll take 3 times 5 plus 4. Now, if I were to give you this problem, the first thing you would do is parentheses first, and you would get 9. And then 9 times 3 is 27. That's exactly how you should solve this problem. But there is a rule that says you can multiply each of the numbers inside here by this 3 that's on the outside. Because we know that a number next to another number in parentheses means to multiply, right? So it's 3 times this stuff. We're actually allowed to multiply 3 times 5 and 3 times 4 and then add them together. 3 times 5 is 15 and 3 times 4 is 12. And if we add those together, we'll get 27. And you can see it's the same answer. Now some of you might ask, why would I do that, Mr. Scheider? That seems a little bit more complicated than just doing 5 plus 4 getting 9 times 3. Because in algebra, we might have a part of the problem that you don't know, and you still need to try to simplify it. Okay? So, for example, you could have the same type of problem, right? And this works with subtraction too. So, let's take 2 times x minus 5. Say we have this problem where it looks just like several of these problems, right? Just a number on the outside times a sum or difference on the inside. But the question is can I use the distributive property to help simplify this, to get rid of the parentheses? And you actually can. Even if you don't know what x is, right? You can still show what it would look like if you were to do 2 times x. Because the real problem is here, you can't do x minus 5 because you can't subtract and add numbers and letters, right? But you can multiply by them. I can show 2 times x. We know that's just 2x, right? Minus, because there's a subtraction sign here, 2 times 5, which is 10. And I can actually turn that into an algebraic expression with no parentheses using the distributive property. So do a couple more here. Try this one really quick. See if you can use the distributive property here by, instead of adding together first in the parentheses, which you can't do because you can't do x plus 3 because you don't know what x is, right? Can use the distributive property to solve this. What you would do is you would take the number on the outside, multiply it by the first term inside the parentheses, 2 times x, which just 2x, right? Plus, and this one is what people forget a lot of times. They might just bring the 3 down here, but you really have to multiply by both, right? 2 times 3 would be 6. So the answer would be 2x plus 6. And some people would try to add these together. Some people would try to say 2x plus 6 equals 8x. But you're forgetting you can't add numbers and letters together, right? 2 times x is really, like, if I were to write this out, remember multiplication is repeated addition. This is really right here, if I were to really draw this out, this is really x plus 6, right? Because 2x is just x plus x. And this does not equal 8x, right? That is as far as you can take it. You're done right there. Try this one out real quick. Multiply both numbers on the inside times the factor on the outside. If you got an answer, hopefully you could check your work with mine now. I would take the 8 and multiply it by the first term, right? Because I can't do x plus 3, so I'm going to find another way to get these. I'm going to use the distributive property, which is 8x. It's a plus sign there, so I'm going to be adding these. 8 times 3 is 24. And I can't take that any further because I can't add 8x and 24 together because those are a bunch of x's, and that's a 24. How about this one? This will be our last one, guys. This is really the distributive property. It might seem a little easy, but be careful of these small mistakes. On this one, even though the letter is second, right, you still can't do 9 plus x. So according to order of operations, you couldn't do anything here unless we knew the distributive property, which says multiply the 5 times the 9 and the 5 times the x and add those together. 5 times 9, 45. 5 times x is 5x. Done there, because you cannot add 5x's with the number 45 because you don't know what those x's are. So we're done there. Guys, that's the distributive property. Hopefully that was a quick crash course. We are going to go a little bit more in depth throughout the week and in the future. So I'm excited. Hopefully this was a good lesson. If you got questions, ask me. Peace out, guys.